Hey guys, JassassinE here and welcome to the channel, and welcome to the finale episode of my Diamond City project. This penthouse has been a ton of fun guys, and I am really excited that this is the last episode before I get to do the full tour. So at first guys, we're just checking out what we got up to on the last episode. Unfortunately, I have been very sick where I haven't been able to put out any content. So that has been a bit of a bummer, and it's been very disappointing for me, as I do have some fantastic content ready to put onto the channel. Guys, at the end of the day, the channel is not going anywhere, and I will be putting out content for quite some time. But anyway guys, the timer is up, so let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is put some character into the hallway, but at first we will place this really cool clock from the old State House kit from Snappy Builds. Then using the lit display cases from Creative Clutter just to put a little bit of life into the hallway area. So Grognan the Barbarian and the Silver Shroud is one way to literally put some character into the hallway. And then of course, just to help add to that theme, we will put up a Silver Shroud lamplit poster and of course a Unstoppables lamplit poster. And that will just add a little bit more to that particular theme. And guys, because we are in Diamond City, I think it's important that we put down a statue of a baseballer. Adding those simple items has really put a great touch to the hallway. But guys, I've got a really cool theme for out here on the veranda. So the first things first guys, we are just going to put up a column, so as we get into it I can put some lighting up, especially on those dark evenings when we are out here entertaining some guests. So using the brick walls from Workshop Rearranged, we're just going to resize down a half wall, and then we're going to use some columns for the side of our barbecue. But before we put the columns up, what we need to do is put down a couple of grills. So putting two together is just going to make a full-size barbecue. And then of course we can then shrink down the columns and just put them into the outsides of the barbecue. So guys, we're not going to have any wind come and blow our fire out, or we're not going to burn down this awesome penthouse we've just built. So using OC Decorator, we are going to get some of the finest meats from the Commonwealth, and we're just going to lay them up on the barbecue and set them up in a realistic manner. What I like to do also guys is sometimes resizing the meat to add a little bit of realism to the hot plate. That way it doesn't look like you've used a cookie cutter and stamped all your pieces of meat out so they are identically the same. Now that corn actually looks like it's already been burnt before it's even put on the barbecue, but instead it's just full of yummy radiation. So just going to size down these shish kebabs a little bit because I thought they looked a little bit too large. Just resizing a pan and we're going to use that to put a little bit of egg omelette in. That way guys, we have almost got food from all 5 food groups sitting on our barbecue, and I think that looks really cool. So the next thing we are going to want to do is make this barbecue look a lot more believable by adding some fire. So using Cabin in the Woods, we are just going to get the wood from the fireplaces, and we're just going to push them inside to the grill areas, which of course is going to add fire to our barbecue. Now that looks pretty funny guys with high speed level design. It makes it look like the fires are really thrusting out the top of the hot plate, but once of course it is wound down to normal time and I'm out of workshop mode, it is going to look very realistic. So up goes a few utensils and items that you would expect to find around a barbecue. I find using the right items and putting them in the right spots is one way to make certain areas look very believable. So guys, as you can see, we are going from a empty veranda and now we've done a custom barbecue. It is really starting to take shape. The next thing is guys, we are going to want a believable barbecue table. So we want to make it look like that there can be a few people sitting up here and they're sitting down enjoying themselves after a day of wiping out raiders and of course gunners and anything else the Commonwealth has to throw at them. Up goes some lights so we can see what we're doing of a night time, but I will be putting some ambient lighting around, so if we want to turn the lights off, it looks quite nice outside of an evening. So some utensils like some knives, forks, napkins, salt and pepper, some sauces, that sort of stuff is one way to put a little bit of charisma and believability to your barbecue table. And I think that table is starting to look nice and busy already, and up goes a little bit of ambience, so if we turn the lights off we can still sit at the table and enjoy a barbecue. So out comes some tunes. We'll put some tunes up on the side table, and we're just going to put a little setup here so it looks like we are sitting back chilling and relaxing on the deck chairs, soaking up the God rays and having a good bourbon or two. Now this veranda, most of it is out of workshop mode, so you'll find that I have to stand just outside the double doors as we go out onto the veranda, and also just outside the single door on the lounge room side. Now they're the two areas where the workshop does not cut out, so I've got limited places to stand, but that's alright guys, using Place Anywhere, it does make that job a little bit easier for us. So up goes a little bit of decor for the cook. We're just going to place it up on top of the chiller box. Now I do like placing magazines around the place guys, it adds a bit of colour and texture to the environment. Now we are going to have a waste paper bin, and just filling it up full of rubbish is just going to make this area look like it has actually been lived in. and we actually do clean up after ourselves. We're just going to put down a cool Nuka-Cola esky which comes from Creative Clutter, and we're going to lean up a sniper rifle on the esky. If we can see trouble happening down where we live, we can stand up on our veranda and start potting them off to help out the DC guards. We need to keep some sort of safety where our nice penthouse is. So guys, speaking of Penthouse, this particular world space was provided by Matches Malone 89, and it was ported by Lando Commando earlier this year. So there was a lot of trouble with this mod. Now if you guys want to check out what this mod looked like when I originally started to build here, you'll be able to check that out into episode 1, and that's where I started to create the layout. But when you see what I started with and you have a look at the project now, it has come along really well. So as far as we know, there could be some cool recipe inside these wasteland survival guides, so we're just going to shove a couple of them up on the chair. And of course that's somewhere where the chef can sit down and rest his legs while he's waiting for this gorgeous meat to cook on the barbecue. Okay, maybe I got a bit carried away with gorgeous meat, but until the meat's cooked anyway. So of course every fire needs some firewood guys, so using the Cabin in the Woods mod, we are going to place down some firewood, and we're just going to shrink it down to a size that would actually fit in the griller. And then of course we will shove a machete on top so we can cut that firewood down a little bit more. But anyway guys, I'm really happy with the way this veranda has come up. It looks busy, and it actually looks like people have been up here having a barbecue. So guys, we are now into the office area and the main room, and we are on the home stretch of this last episode. So I thought adding some curtains would be a fantastic idea. We are keeping within the colour that we have already chosen, but it's just adding a little bit more texture, and it's also one way to separate the bedroom from the office. Getting a 4-drawer filing cabinet and dropping it into the floor, we can create a 3-drawer filing cabinet, and then we're just going to size up a bookcase and glitch it into the right hand side of the drawer pack and make our own custom little cupboard. So using the same furniture which comes from the renovated furniture mod, we are just going to place the office desk, and we're just going to add some simple clutter at first, and then we are going to add our own finishing touches with OC Decorator and some other cool mods. So guys, I've always used terminals that sit on a desk, so I thought using a wall mounted terminal would be pretty cool, and I think that creates quite a different look. You will notice that I'm mixing old furniture and new furniture together. And guys, I think it's quite okay to use pre-war and post-war furniture in the same room. I'd love to have a couple of these boat bookcases at home. I think they look really cool. So we are going to put some great decorations in these guys. So over here we are going to make a little dresser. Now, one thing that I like to do with my builds is I do like to use light emitters, and I like to use the ones that create shadows. So you'll see very soon I will put a light emitter up, and it's going to cast the shadow of the desk and the chair down onto the floor. And I think that's a great way to add a third dimension to our builds, and it also adds to the character and to the depth of the view. So we're going to flip through and try and find some relevant pictures for the office area and of course the bedroom area. Now, as you can see guys, it is coming along pretty well. So we're just going to work on a little bit of ambience over here on the dresser. Now, my particular character in this game is a female character, so we're going to add some cool stuff onto the dresser that would be relevant to a female character. So introducing a little bit of ambient lighting, because when we mix ambient lighting and powered lighting together, it does seem to save on the FPS. We will make our own entertainment unit. So we're just going to place a coffee table in just for the timber aesthetics on the front of the cabinet. Then we're just going to glitch in a radio so we can listen to Diamond City Radio. And of course we will add a drawer so it looks like we have storage in our cabinet. So guys, today's shout out goes to Oddison6144. Now Oddison does some fantastic law friendly builds that are very highly detailed and very believable. So if you guys wanted to get a little bit of inspiration for your build, I would certainly recommend Oddison's channel. So I will put Oddison's channel down in the description. So if you guys get a chance, go and check it out, because he does some fantastic work. So what I'm going to do guys is I will put up all of the shout outs that we did through this series and through this project, so you guys can go and check out all the channels if you are able to, and maybe you might be able to get some inspiration. I find watching other builders' content is one way to expand my own library of thoughts when it comes to furnishing and decorating. Now, speaking of shout outs, I have been putting a shout out into all of my episodes of the Diamond City project. Now I do that for two reasons guys. Number one is YouTube is a pretty big place, and there is a lot of great channels out there that do Fallout 4 content, but it is impossible to see them all. And what I like to do is when I come across a channel and I really enjoy it and I get inspiration from the channel, I wonder if you guys would too. I think showing you guys some more YouTubers that you can check out will just help with some inspiration and motivation for your own builds and Fallout content. The second reason, guys, that I like to do a shout out is simply to support the Fallout 4 community. It just helps the community and it helps Fallout 4 flourish so we can have a lot of fun for years to come with our favourite game. So guys, they are the simple reasons why I like to do shout outs. So moving into the main wardrobe, and we're just going to put up a few hanging rails, and then we are going to place some clothes along the hanging rails, and it's time to try and make this wardrobe look as believable as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a few baskets in between these two hanging racks, and I'm trying to make it look like someone's been in there with a drill, drilled a couple of holes, and we can push the baskets through, which of course will act as great shelves for storage for some more clothing. So guys, I don't know about you guys, but I have still got some unpacked boxes sitting in the bottom of my wardrobe. So because we see that in real life, I think that's one way to add a little bit more character and believability to the wardrobe. Not only that guys, it looks like we've still got some boxes to unpack. So when I put a little bit more clutter into this room, it looks like the items that I've added could have come from those boxes. So placing down some firearms within your build also looks pretty cool. Not only does it give it a touch of Fallout, but it makes sure that you have a weapon within arm's reach at all times. Which if I was in the Commonwealth guys, I would want a weapon close by at all times also. So putting down a chest piece and a trilby hat and a few suits just makes it look a little bit busy in the wardrobe, and hopefully gives it the effect that it is being used on a daily basis. In goes a couple of mannequins or something where we can store our armor and clothing. And I like to dress the mannequins into something pretty cool, but at first we're just going to place up a couple of metal shelves and glitch some timber shells over the top of it, so those shells look like they are being supported. The good thing about using pre-clutter is you can add your own items to it, and it still adds a lot of style and charisma to those items. But I do try and hand place pretty much everything myself, because I find decoration is a creative outlet for me, and I really enjoy it. So a little bit of flora and fauna up into the shelves always looks good. Now you guys will notice that I have got some models of robots and cars around the house sitting in the shelf units. Well, the way I see it, guys, those robots and cars must have come from somewhere. So it would be believable to see some model boxes sitting around the place with a bit of Wonder Glue and some paint, and it just makes it look like we have put our own decorations around the place that we have possibly made ourselves. So little simple ideas like that do add a little bit of realism to your build. So as you can see here, guys, the bedroom was looking quite ordinary before we started, but now we've started to place in some clutter, it is really starting to look homely. Guys, there is a couple of rooms that have gone unnoticed. Now one of those is the lobby area. So when you come up into this penthouse, you come up via an elevator and we walk through a lobby area. Well, I've kept that off of camera so I can decorate that with some awesome features which will be quite a big surprise on the full tour. Then we happen to have our weaponry and our armory area, which of course we will have all of our crafting benches in there as well. So I have kept that off camera so I can do a really cool design in there which will be quite a surprise. So guys, what I will be doing is I will be enhancing this build sometime between this last episode and the full tour. Now I'm not going to go and remove all that fantastic hard work we've done together. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to make a few simple changes, more so cosmetic changes, and I'm also going to add a lot more believability with clutter. Because this workshop was not my own, I did not know this workshop very well, so I've sort of kept to a relatively high amount of detail, but I've stayed pretty well behaved. Now that I have gotten to the end of the build, I've realized that I have not dropped FPS whatsoever. So guys, I'm going to be able to add some really cool clutter to every room that we've done. Now this is where it was quite important to put a different theme in every room, because now it's going to make it a lot easier for me to enhance every room with a little bit more clutter and decoration. So I am very excited to do the full tour on this project, and I'm even more excited to start my following project, which will be a triple workshop build at Kingsport Lighthouse. So I will be going back to building law friendly. It has been a ton of fun building something that's edging a little bit more towards pre-war, but I have made sure that I have added a lot of Fallout 4 lore to really dress the place down to still make it feel like it fits in the Fallout 4 universe. I am looking forwards to getting to the great outdoors and doing some fantastic lore-friendly builds. So as you can see guys, I am placing a lot of clutter down, and we have 2 more bobblehead shelves to add, and that way we can fit all 20 bobbleheads here in the bedroom. Now we don't want to catch our teddy bears alight, so we are going to put a couple of lamps just up on top of the shelf. In case we get some sort of power shortage, we can grab the lamps and we can actually still see what we're doing. So placing a few caps and a bit of pre-war money around is one way to keep the place looking like it's still in the Fallout universe, but it actually does add to the believability also. Coming up with some custom ideas is a really cool way to make your build stand out. I think it's important to do some custom work, and it's a lot of fun, and it really does make your build look a lot more interesting. So I put a pretty steady flow of decor in every single room of this penthouse. I've made sure that I've used different walls and different decorations and different themes in every room. That way when it comes time to the enhancement stage, it gives me a lot more choices to make this place look really cool. So now it's time to make this desk look like someone actually sits at it and uses it. So we're trying to place down some believable items so it looks like someone stood up straight out of the seat and left the room and left everything sitting down where it is, and it looks actually very believable that this could be used on a day-to-day basis. So guys, there's a bit of a personal joke with the doilies. If you guys have seen previous episodes, you'll know what I'm talking about, but I won't get into it. So up goes a decanter and a wine glass, so we can sit down and have a few drinks while we are watching our holotapes or doing some computer work. So using the Curo tab, we are going to stick up a really cool Swatters sign, and of course that is right up above a shelf that has baseball paraphernalia on the shelf. In goes a little bit more flora and fauna. Some pens, some pencils, some scissors, other things like that that you would find at a desk, we will also place at this desk because that will also make it look like it is actually used. Now you guys know I love placing magazines around the place. Number one, it makes us look like we could be educated, and number two, it makes it look like someone actually lives here and could possibly read these books. I think the vases really blend in with the doily, and I think they somewhat offset each other, and it somewhat balances the top of this particular unit. So as you can see, OC Decorator is one of my favourite mods, because I do like to create my own clutter. Decorating I find to be very soothing, and I really do like to express my creativity through the art of decorations. When I like to build and decorate, guys, I really try and make my areas look as believable as possible, and I have a ton of fun doing it. So hopefully that does come across in my videos when I do my building. If you guys do enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys, so that way you can check out some awesome builds that I have coming up on the channel. And while you're there, guys, don't be too nervous, smash that like button, because it can really help this content go out to other builders and Fallout 4 enthusiasts in the Fallout community that may also enjoy it. So of course, putting up some wall art that is relevant to certain items is also another way to add a few more textures to the build, and it really does work on believability. But anyway, guys, we have gotten to the end of this huge decorational sprint, and we have placed a shit ton of decor right throughout the 3 areas that we have done on this episode. So guys, I'm very excited to finally be up to the final tour of the penthouse. I think you guys will be very surprised with how it turns out. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. At the end of the day, I do appreciate each and every one of you that support the channel and that enjoy my content. So guys, thank you very much for watching this project. I have had a ton of fun doing it, but it is time for the full tour and to move on to the next project. So guys, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next video. So bye for now.